All right. We are live. What's up, fellas?
What's up?
Hey, what's going on?
Everything,
How y'all feeling?
everything is excellent. Can't complain. New product out. You know what I mean? That new product we know is going to change a lot of things for a lot of people. And I think this call is designed. Let's start it off like this, right? This call is designed to get some question answered for some people where our DMs have been flooded, emails have been flooded, all of those different kind of things, right? So what we want to do is take it to a public platform. We're going to do a Q&A tonight for everybody that is interested. What does the Acre Boyzz Farming offer? What are we going to learn? All of these different things. So I think the purpose of this call that we're going to be having tonight is to go ahead and get those questions answered for the people that want to actually move forward into that Acre Boyzz Farming.
Yeah, for sure. We dropped the program on June 15th. We did a lot. We put in a lot into this program. We were excited to release this program. Now that we have released it, we're about 2 weeks heading into our second week. Our first week went really well. Our first class, we had a nice turnout. Principal Farmer left some homework assignments to do for new beginners as your first week inside of the program. So if you missed it, you're a week late inside of the program. I'm on the sidelines. I've been able to see some of the reviews from the first week. So far, so good. Everybody is raving about the product. Everybody's raving about the information. And I'm excited about that because, as I stated before, this is the kind of things that we want to align ourselves with. We want to align ourselves with things that can actually help, things that actually can move the needle, things that's practical, things that not only can you do yourself, but things that you can do with your family or your children at home. Everybody can grow. We can grow together as one, and it's needed in our community. How to self-sustain yourself, how to grow your own food. Having that knowledge is something that is, it goes back from biblical times all the way up to now. So having that knowledge in your repertoire under your belt, it can only strengthen you moving forward. So I'm happy that we have Acre Boyzz Farming a part of our product line and a part of us now. And tonight, that's Q&A is going to be a big Q&A session because, as Jay said, a lot of people have a lot of questions, and we're going to do our best to service those questions, and you'll get a glimpse at what it somewhat looks like on the inside of the program.
If we were coming on here and we were teasing about a Jordan release, man, people be sleeping outside trying to get a pair of shoes, right? Put on your feet. Actually, to get a pair of shoes that you're not going to put on your feet, right? We stand in line to buy them so we can flex to people that we got them. And then when you finally put them on, I mean, they walk it, they don't even want to bend them. Right. We're talking about something that will allow you potentially to be 85 and still have legs that you can go buy some Jordans. Right. We're trying to extend your life. I watched the video, I binge watch on stuff that got something to do with, health, farming, whatever. And I watched this video it was a little cartoon, the 60s or 50s and 60s. People would go in the grocery store and they would fill their carts with fruits and vegetables, right? And then something happened in that 70s, 80s, and definitely 90s. We start filling our carts with sugar. Right? And so everybody's eating cereal. Cereal was a play. If y'all ever do the research on cereal was a straight up a play. Orange juice is a play. For sure. Right? Nobody was drinking orange juice. They were eating oranges. Right. If I told you all, Ray and Jay, that chicken is a play. Because in America, we really were just doing eggs. They weren't even eating the chicken meat. Right. You don't hear about in slavery. Yeah, they gave us the worst part of the chicken. You ain't never heard nobody say that. They gave the worst part of all. Right. So we've been played so much. And so now we have taken on a diet and practices that are non-beneficial to sustaining our lives. So it's more than just how to put a seed in the ground that we're going to teach you inside of Acre Boyzz Farming. So I'm excited. Y'all need to get in line like it's the 95 Jordans. Like it's a Jordan drop, right?
Now check this out, Pat. Let's go ahead and dispel some rumors. A question I want to ask you is that normally, I know me, and I've asked other people too as well, when people hear the word farming, they automatically associate it with 50 acres of land, with 100 acres of land and different things like that. So can you speak to how this program is going to help people regardless of the space that they have in order to utilize?
And let me make that a two-part question, Pat.
Okay.
Jay's first part, because another myth that we want to bust is not that you need this 50 acres of land to farm, also that it doesn't have to necessarily mean that you have to raise chicken or herd cattle or deal with animals as a farmer as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So I got to answer it in two parts.
Right.
You know, in our age bracket, our parents, their parents were sharecroppers, but they were around the farm. So Ray J, your mom and dad, my mom and dad was like, no, baby, you need to go to school, right? You need to get you a good education and get you a job, right? So there was this push away from farming, and farming got this stain in our community, right? It has this stigma in our community. And all we hear, the first time we heard 40 Acres and a Mule was Spike Lee. You know, we're just now getting back to people understand that was a historical play, but we thought it was a Spike Lee production company, right?
Right.
So what we're dispelling is when you hear and speak the language of the people, our community are moving into subdivisions outside of the metropolitan all across North America. Other communities are moving inside of the city limits, and they want to have their backyard gardens. They want to be able to walk outside in the small lawn. The lawn has now been turned around into a garden. The backyard is turned into an orchard, and they on 0.10 of an acre. Well, all politics are local. So locally, the pressure around the country has caused national laws to change to where farming is the language that you use, even though it looks like they are gardeners.
Right.
Yes, it may be what we call gardeners, but the language that's necessary is farming. Correct. So now you hear urban farming. Oh, what's urban farm? I ain't never heard of urban farm. Now urban farm is the norm because the laws have changed. Now, what's beautiful about our course is we're going to be able to help you from apartment farming, to subdivision farming to 1,000 acres and everything in between. And so don't get discouraged if you're in a condo and you got a window sill and you got the little you have the 2x2 piece of concrete outside your back door. That's enough for you to grow inside of Acre Boyzz Farming.
Pat, can we pause
anything?
Go ahead.
I mean,
really?
I want to pause there and I want to play this video, and I want you to have a conversation based upon what's spoken about inside of the video. The video pertains to what you just mentioned, urban farming. So I just want to play the video real quick, then you can dive in and have your comments on what's relayed in the video. So here we go.
What, I guess, examples of different crops that you could easily grow even within a small space?
anything. I mean,
Really?
with the right soil, yes.
Okay.
Yeah. But, I mean, your collards, your spinach, and kale, all these different things you can grow very easily, If you're just doing stuff in town or in smaller areas, you could be able to do smaller stuff, like kale and stuff like that, high dollar stuff. Out of greenhouses, you can be able to do sprouts, which are, 5 to 7 days, and nutritious, and be able to make money with it.
So that is an interesting model. It's like the land access part, not to ignore that conversation, is still very important, but not to wait for that in order for like the growing to take place. I like that. Well, what's the easiest thing to start with? Like if you're a beginner, you know nothing about anything green, but you want to try, the enthusiasm is there. What would you suggest people start with?
Leafy stuff, greens, lettuce.
Leafy stuff? Okay.
Green and lettuce, stuff like that. Kale, those things, they're easy to grow. I mean, you can't you can't mess that up too much.
That's encouraging because I like those things too. So I'm gonna have to try those and report back to you.
If you mess those up, that means like you were not paying attention.
If my kale comes out yellow, then
you
it's
missed
like,
something.
It just wasn't for me. That wasn't my lane. Thank you for that.
Yeah, that's awesome. And to our community, I want to give y'all just a little game. So a couple of years ago, the health craze kick came out, right? And everybody's like, man, you got to get a wheatgrass shot, right? Everybody's like, yeah, wheatgrass. Ain't nothing about no wheatgrass. We heard about wheat,
Right.
but wheatgrass?
Right.
And how did it become like the craze? That's because it only takes 7 days for it to grow. It's just wheat seeds that they sprout. You don't even need soil. You put them in a pan, you soak them overnight, put them in a pan, sit them on the windowsill. They're going to grow about maybe an inch and a half. Because that energy had to come out of that shoot, it's full of nutrients right there. They cut it, put it in a smoothie, shake it up, and sell it to you. Everybody on this live right now, I can show you how to grow grass, your own wheatgrass shots. Right. I can show you how to grow a tray of wheatgrass and sell shots to your neighbors, and it's going to cost you like $5.
Right.
You don't need that. You need a tray.
How much are those shots in the juice bar, Jay? About $7 or something, right?
$7-10 somewhere in there. Yeah, they're not cheap.
You can take grandmama's baking pan. We can grow you some shots. You can make you shoot $77 overnight, right? So that's the part about inside of our program. You know, by day, I teach children. I've been teaching children for 20 plus years, almost 30 years, right? And so I've learned by default how to break things down to where they're easily digestible and easy to understand. So I'm not saying that inside of our course, I'm talking to you like you're a kindergarten. I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying is I have a skill set where I can take complex things and then give them and break them down to where all of us can understand them. And then guess what? Apply them. Right? It's nothing to understand it. You know, somebody can teach us quantum physics and you can understand it for a moment, but when that person goes away, can you apply it? If you can't apply, you ain't learn nothing.
Absolutely.
We guarantee, and I know people don't say this a lot because it's hard this day and time, but we guarantee in our course that if you follow the steps, you're going to grow it. You're going to get confident. And then we're going to show you how to profit on the other side of it.
Yeah, for sure. So anybody that's listening, we are having our live Q&A tonight at 7:00 p.m. Eastern. In order for you to attend this live Q&A that has limited seats, go ahead and comment the word "teach me" inside of the chat so you can go ahead and reserve your seat and continue this conversation. We're going to go more in depth as far as this concerned, and definitely get over there and have a conversation with us and let us show you what's going on inside of Acre Boyzz Farming. Now, one thing that I wanted to touch on too, Pat, is that, you know, the crazy part about it is, like, you know, when I was talking on the live earlier, I was telling the people that, listen, I'm not saying if you have a small amount of space that you're going to recreate and be able to produce everything that you consume from an actual store, right? But what I was telling you, sometimes you can start the trajectory just by starting with some lettuce, tomato, you know, whether that's some cucumber, whatever the case may be, because sometimes it's not the magnitude, it's the direction, right? So we can pushed into these particular places where that can start an ongoing process of growing together, like we say inside of Acre Boyzz Farming, you know?
I have 2 drivers in my house. I have a 24-year-old, I have 3, my wife, but my children. I have a 24-year-old and I have a 20-year-old. Have their own driver license, they have their own car, right? I taught them how to drive a golf cart on the farm.
Okay.
They got comfortable driving the golf cart on the farm. Those skills became transferable to driving their mother's sedan. So they went from the golf cart to the sedan. I throw them the keys to the truck, right? It's the same principles. It's a brake, it's a gas pedal, it's a steering wheel, right? Now I can tell my daughter, can you go bring me the tractor? Right? She has the basic skills. It's just a couple nuances that's different than the tractor, than the golf cart, than the golf cart to the sedan to the truck. If I can teach you how to grow in 5-gallon buckets and you develop the skills of how to grow, where you're maintaining the proper soil, the moisture in the soil, the nutrients, you're keeping an eye on the seedlings, you're harvesting at the right time, you're fighting the pests, I can teach you how to grow 5 50-foot rows, and I can teach you how to grow 50 acres, right? Because we can scale those principles up. This is the part that we should be flooded with teach me right now. If you haven't hit teach me, when I say this, you need to have teach me inside the comments.
That's a fact.
If you are not watching the political climate right now, and you have not started to grow some wheatgrass or some cilantro or some lettuce, you don't know what next week looks like. And I'm not the fear monger kind of guy. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying this is so unstable right now. We could be back in a pandemic, right? Not so much a pandemic of a COVID, but a pandemic because a war and was shut down. Now you're in your house. How many of y'all got 5 days worth of food right now with the power out? Hold on, because I said 5 days worth of food. Everybody raise their hand. Then I just threw you a curveball. I said with the power out. Okay. Now the refrigerator, that stuff spoiled already.
Right.
Okay. The power's out 5 days. And as a father, I hate my children say, Dad, I'm hungry and I have nothing. But if you had them buckets outside that ain't got nothing to do with the power, as long as the sun still come up, it's been coming up for 76 straight years. As long as the sun come up, there's a little moisture outside, morning dew, you ain't got nothing to do with that. You can go out there and pick some lettuce. Watch this. Do you know Joe Rogan? He ain't shout us out, but I think he's been watching us, y'all. Joe Rogan said the other day, if I had nothing else and I was a broke man, I would have 2 chickens in my backyard and I let them roam around because I'm gonna get 2 eggs a day and I can make a whole lot of meals out of an egg omelet, scrambled eggs, boiled egg, right? Mm-hmm. And so these are the simple principles that we're going to teach you, and then those simple principles will be scaled. So I know we should be flooded with teach me now. I can't see the comments, but I know teach me.
Comment on the teach me. If you're on Instagram, comment teach me. If you're on Facebook and Instagram, the link is in the bio. Just look in the chat. The link is in the bio. Simply hit that link. Get yourself registered. One thing about us, we start on time, so class will start at 7. I want you to be there. I want you to see what the inside is like. And Pat, speaking of those buckets, I have a treat for them. Let's play.
We took you from the inception all the way. Listen, here at Acre Boyzz Farming, a few weeks ago, we showed you how to build a raised bucket bed stand. We took you from the inception all the way to the finish. This is what you're looking at here, the finished results of it. Patience is a virtue. Sometimes in life, you have to get started and have patience and let life happen, because this is what life can yield for you once you have just a little bit of patience.
And that patience is extremely important. Remember, we told you that in this raised bucket bed, we can do 10 different vegetables. I know it was hard to see when you only saw us building it with the 2x4s. You saw us with a bucket. We added some dirt, and you couldn't see the vision. But because we have patience and had faith and we knew our works, we knew what's going to happen. So now you take and look at that eggplant. A couple more weeks, that eggplant will be grilled eggplant.
Wow,
and it'll be on the plate near you. So again, Acre Boyzz Farming. This is what we do. Right. Not only did we say I think I took a picture. I had grilled eggplant last week. That eggplant, we'll pop that eggplant.
Right.
We'll pop that eggplant. Yeah.
That's right.
And so one of the beautiful things that I would like to share that I didn't plan on when we did acquire the farm and started this process is the nutritional value of food when it goes from harvest to kitchen, not harvest to cooler to 18-wheeler to 600 miles to the back of the supermarket to the wait till the shelf is empty, then it's on the shelf, then it's in your bag, then it's in your freezer, then you throw it out, then you cook it, then you consume it. Mm-hmm. All those steps in there, you don't have those steps when it goes from harvest to the kitchen. And so the nutritional value that's there is priceless. And then your body begins to rejuvenate and react to those because it's fresh. And that's what we need. We need fresh food.
Yeah, for sure. I agree, Pat. You know, at this point in time where we are right now, I believe everybody needs to put themselves in a position where they are curating some kind of thing on their own. Like you see that raised bucket bed, it doesn't even take up that much room. That can fit right in your backyard, even if you got a small space or whatever the case may be. And I just believe that this is information that's needed to bring out there to the forefront, because I know a lot of people, talk about, we see a lot of gardening groups and different things like that. But this is not just a community about growing things physically. This is about growing mentally as well. This is about putting yourself around like-minded individuals who are not just growing food, but we're growing mentally together. I don't want to skip to say that this is an actual community of growth altogether. That's why we say, let's grow together.
Yes. Yeah. And you know what, Ray and Jay, you can never go too far with me. Like, I'm supposed to be, I ain't on vacation, but I'm just down the road. But this is, I'm full of, I'm always reading. This called Folded Back because I'm reading it. Right? That's the Farmer's Almanac. This is Successful Home Gardening in Georgia. Look, this is the Backyard Homestead Seasonal Planner. I'm always reading, and I've invested probably $500,000, honestly, in just development and, equipment to get to this point till I feel comfortable. So this is not a microwave class. Ray and Jay didn't invest in me to invest in you. And I went and Googled and used ChatGPT, and now I'm the principal farmer. No, we have it blood, sweat, tears, finances.
Right.
Luckily, I got a wonderful wife. I don't have to put marriage in there as one of the things I had to invest to lose. No, I'm good, right? But I've been able to see the growth of me personally. I was watching something today. Jay always got me on some quest, man, to learn more. And listen to this one, Ray. It's called the mirroring hormone. Mirror. I'm from East St. Louis, so pardon this slang. But it's when you're around people for a long period of time, you begin to mirror their antics, their characteristics, their habits.
For sure.
And so when you're around people who are negative, when you're around people who won't start, I'm getting ready. When you're around people who always see the worst side of everything, you begin to mirror that activity. Absolutely. But if you reverse your community and you get around people who are talking positive, me and Ray hopped on, it was our first time today. We talk every day. We hopped on, he was like, man, I needed that energy, right? We got to give energy to each other. If he get on like, man, Pat, I having a bad day, I'm like, man, me too, brother. The world coming to an end. That's not productive, right? And so seeds need the right environment. I can give you an heirloom, perfect 9th generation seed, and if you sit it on the concrete, it ain't gonna grow. It's not. It's just not gonna grow. It's gonna burn up and it's useless. But if you put that seed in the right environment, and what I'm here to tell you all in Acre Boyzz Farming is the right environment for you to grow.
Yeah, I concur, fellas. This has been a very insightful live. We wanted to jump on and invite everyone that's on this call to our live Q&A session tonight. If you're on Facebook, if you're on YouTube, the link is in the bio. If you're on Facebook, you can also comment, teach me. If you're on Instagram, comment, teach me. This is what our community looks like on a daily basis. This is the brothers that's in charge of this class. This is what we do online and offline. We build together as brothers, and in our community, we build together, and we're very passionate about the information that we put out there. We want our information and what we represent, we want it to be very useful. We want it to be something that when you speak of the Acre Boyzz, or if you speak of the Acre Boyzz Farming, you want it to be something that of value that you got from us. That's what our platform is for across all social. Our platform is to spread awareness, to inform, to inspire, and to motivate, everything that's positive. And let's not forget, and to put us in position to make some money, because that's one thing that it's all good to have all this information, but if you don't have no provision for your vision, as we like to say, none of this stuff is going to happen. So we need to be a little more conscious about the things that we surrounding ourselves with. Get with a community that stands for something. If that's us, join us tonight on the Q&A. get some questions answered, and we'll love to service the right people. All right. So we're going to shut it down because we do want to get a little bit of rest, allow ourselves to drink, hydrate ourselves, get some food because we have to jump on that call at 7 o'clock tonight. Thank you, everybody, for being here with us on this quick live, and we'll see you at 7 o'clock tonight, promptly on the live tonight. Peace, y'all.
See you inside, y'all.
See you inside.